Two people. Both are 30 years old. Both get a raise at work. One earns $3,000 a month and gets promoted to $4,000. The other earns $8,000 a month and jumps to $10,000. 5 years later, one has investments, emergency savings, financial freedom slowly growing in the background. The other, still stressed, still waiting for one more raise to finally feel financially comfortable. Here's the strange part. The second person made way more money. So what happened? Most people think financial problems disappear when income rises. But for millions of people, the opposite happens. The more they earn, the more trapped they become. Not because they're irresponsible, not because they're lazy, but because of something incredibly quiet, something almost invisible, a psychological money trap that slowly expands alongside your income. A trap called lifestyle inflation. And if you don't recognize it, you can spend decades making more money without ever becoming wealthy. Think back to your first paycheck. Maybe you were a student. Maybe it was your first real job. You probably felt rich. Small things felt exciting. Ordering food felt special. Buying new shoes felt rewarding. Life was simple. Now think about today. The things that once felt luxurious often feel normal. Coffee deliveries, subscription services, premium phones, nicer apartments, frequent dining out, better clothes, weekend trips, ride-sharing instead of public transport. Suddenly, your needs quietly expanded. This is where lifestyle inflation begins. Lifestyle inflation happens when spending increases every time income increases. You make more. So naturally, you spend more. Not because you have to, because your brain adapts. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Humans are incredibly good at adjusting to improvement. The new car feels exciting. For a while, the bigger apartment feels amazing. For a while, the salary increase feels life-changing. For a while. Then eventually, it becomes normal. And once something becomes normal, your brain starts wanting the next upgrade. A bigger screen, a nicer vacation, a better neighborhood, a more expensive lifestyle. Without realizing it, the finish line keeps moving. You're running harder, but never arriving. Imagine someone named Alex. Alex graduates college and lands a job earning $40,000 a year. Alex lives with roommates, tracks spending carefully, makes coffee at home, uses an older phone. Life feels manageable. 2 years later, Alex gets promoted. Income jumps to $55,000. Alex thinks, I've worked hard. I deserve better. So Alex upgrades. A nicer apartment, more restaurant meals, a newer car, monthly subscriptions. Nothing extreme, nothing irresponsible, just small upgrades. Then income rises again. $70,000. More upgrades. Luxury gym membership, weekend trips, premium streaming platforms, designer items. Food delivery becomes routine. Then $90,000. Then $110,000. Then $140,000. And strangely, Alex still feels financially tight, still stressed, still waiting for more money, because expenses quietly climbed alongside income. This is why some people earning 6 figures still live paycheck to paycheck. Income matters, but spending behavior matters more. Lifestyle inflation doesn't happen overnight. It happens one tiny decision at a time, one harmless upgrade, one reward, one "I deserve this," until eventually, the lifestyle becomes expensive to maintain, and suddenly, you're not working for freedom. You're working to feed your lifestyle. Humans compare. Constantly. Not survival. Comparison. You buy a reliable car. Then your coworker buys a luxury one. Your apartment feels great. Then social media shows someone living better. You get a raise. Then someone online talks about earning double. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. Humans judge success relative to people around them, not absolute progress. This creates a dangerous money illusion. You can objectively improve financially and still feel behind. Imagine earning $70,000. Years ago, that might have felt incredible. But if everyone around you appears wealthier, your brain doesn't celebrate progress. And companies understand this perfectly. That's why advertising rarely sells products. It sells identity. Luxury watches don't sell time. They sell status. Expensive cars don't sell transportation. They sell success. Premium brands don't sell products. They sell belonging. People don't always buy things because they need them. They buy because of what those things say. About success, about identity, about status, about achievement. Lifestyle inflation quietly grows in the space between who you are and who you think you're supposed to become. Most people believe, once I make enough money, everything will become easier. But enough is dangerous, because enough keeps changing. Someone earning $40,000 imagines life at $80,000. Someone earning $80,000 imagines life at $150,000. Someone earning $150,000 imagines life at $250,000. The target moves, again and again and again. There's an old saying, your expenses rise to meet your income. For many people, that's exactly what happens. Imagine two friends. James earns $60,000. Sarah earns $100,000. James saves 20%. Sarah saves nothing. 10 years later, who builds wealth faster? The answer surprises people. Income creates opportunity. Habits create outcomes. A person earning less but consistently saving and investing can quietly outperform someone earning far more. Because wealth isn't built by income alone. It's built by the gap between what comes in and what goes out. Lifestyle inflation destroys that gap, quietly, slowly, almost invisibly. Here's how lifestyle inflation often works. Raise arrives. Brain says, you deserve something. New spending begins. New spending becomes normal. New normal becomes expectation. Expectation becomes financial pressure. Pressure creates stress. Stress creates desire for higher income. Higher income creates more spending. Repeat forever. It feels harmless. Because nobody suddenly doubles spending overnight. Lifestyle inflation survives through small decisions. $15 subscriptions, $8 coffees, upgrading devices early, more expensive habits, small comforts, tiny luxuries. Individually, harmless. Together, powerful. Imagine a leaking bucket. One tiny hole doesn't matter. 20 tiny holes? Different story. Money works the same way. Wealth rarely disappears in giant mistakes. It often disappears quietly, over years, through invisible upgrades. There's something strange researchers discovered. Many financially successful people don't look rich. They drive practical cars, live below their means, avoid unnecessary upgrades, focus on assets, not appearances. Because wealthy people often understand something lifestyle inflation victims miss. Looking wealthy and being wealthy are completely different things. Someone driving a luxury car might be drowning in payments. Someone driving an older car might have investments quietly compounding in the background. One looks rich. One becomes rich. Huge difference. Lifestyle inflation pushes people toward appearances. Wealth building rewards patience. One feels exciting. The other feels boring. That's exactly why so few people do it. Humans naturally chase visible rewards, not invisible progress. But invisible progress changes lives. Now let's talk about one of the biggest money phrases people tell themselves. I deserve it. After hard work, after stress, after achievement, after long hours, and sometimes, you absolutely do deserve nice things. This isn't about never enjoying money. Money should improve life. Experiences matter. Comfort matters. The problem starts when spending becomes emotional reward. Stressful week? Buy something. Bad day? Spend. Promotion? Upgrade everything. Feeling stuck? Shop. Over time, consumption becomes therapy, and lifestyle inflation accelerates. Because emotional spending rarely solves emotional problems. It only creates more financial pressure later. Companies understand this deeply. Treat yourself. You earned it. Upgrade your lifestyle. The message sounds harmless, but repeated thousands of times, it changes behavior. Consumption becomes identity, and identity becomes expensive. Here's what financially successful people often do differently. When income rises, they don't automatically upgrade everything. They increase freedom. More savings, more investing, more flexibility, more options. Because freedom creates long-term happiness, not constant upgrading. Imagine two people both get a $1,000 monthly raise. Person A upgrades life immediately. Better apartment, new subscriptions, more spending. Person B upgrades slowly, keeps expenses relatively stable, invests most of the difference. 10 years later, those decisions compound massively. Lifestyle inflation steals compounding because money spent today can't grow tomorrow. Every dollar has two jobs: create comfort now or create freedom later. The balance matters. Lifestyle inflation doesn't only cost money, it costs flexibility. Imagine your lifestyle requires $8,000 monthly to maintain. You need high income constantly. You depend heavily on your job. Career risks become harder. Taking time off becomes harder. Changing careers becomes harder. Stress rises. Now imagine needing far less. Flexibility increases. Freedom grows. Financial resilience improves. Lifestyle inflation quietly removes options. And options are one of the most valuable forms of wealth. People think wealth means luxury. Sometimes wealth simply means control. Control over time. Control over choices. Control over stress. Lifestyle inflation slowly takes that away, without most people noticing. So how do you fight lifestyle inflation? First, expect it. Awareness matters. Every raise creates a choice. Upgrade lifestyle, or upgrade freedom. Second, delay upgrades. Don't immediately expand spending after earning more. Give yourself time. Third, automate investing. If extra income disappears into investments first, lifestyle inflation has less room to grow. Fourth, ask one powerful question. Am I buying this because it improves my life, or because it improves how my life looks? That question changes behavior. Fifth, define enough, because if enough remains undefined, the chase never ends. More money, more upgrades, more pressure. Forever. Enough creates boundaries. Boundaries create freedom. At the end of the day, lifestyle inflation doesn't feel dangerous. That's exactly why it is. It doesn't destroy wealth dramatically. It destroys wealth quietly. One upgrade, one habit, one reward, one harmless decision at a time. People often think becoming wealthier means constantly improving lifestyle. But real financial strength usually grows differently. It grows in invisible places. Savings, investments, patience, discipline, intentional choices. Because wealth isn't about spending more every time you earn more. It's about creating a life where money gives you options. Freedom, peace, time. And maybe the biggest financial upgrade isn't a nicer car, or a bigger house, or more expensive habits. Maybe the biggest upgrade is needing less to feel successful, because sometimes the people who look richest are trapped, and the people quietly building wealth barely look different at all. But 10 years later, their lives look completely different. And it all started with one invisible decision: not to let lifestyle inflation quietly steal their future.